Hey guys, so another update. It's getting toward mid-July, and it's been a really busy year. Continuing with this software development course on top of working and family has been extremely challenging. And last week I kind of ran into this block where I woke up in the morning and I just said no, and slept till about 10:30 in the morning, which is really late for me. I almost never do that these days. But it was something I needed, and I don't know, there's something about being in a state where you're just pushing and pushing um, every day, basically, for months on end. You tend to lose track of what it feels like to be relaxed or normal, or kind of, in a way, who you are. You're so used to always just being under pressure and straining yourself to learn something more, because, learning does take a little bit of struggle, especially if it's something difficult. And software development can be really challenging, but it's got a lot of spillover effects. It tends to make you more organized in the way you look at things, and sharper in general. So that's nice. I'm happy to see that. Faster at reading and stuff like that, because you just spend so much time doing it. You get better at it. So anyways, there's been a couple of pretty cool developments. I think in my last video I mentioned I made a contact who would like to kind of source me projects he needs help with for a fee, which is cool. Could probably work in a way to accommodate that, and that would hopefully allow me to kind of consistently have Sundays off, which is something I haven't had. Next month will be 6 years. I've always worked anywhere from 1 to 4 Sundays a month. It's been busy. It's been a busy time. The year before starting my school, and then nearly 5 years since opening. I'm reaching a point where it's really time to just reassess and look at what I can do. And my kids are getting older, which is something that's on my mind. When I first started, my oldest son was 3. He was just a puppy. It was just a round little thing. He was still going to daycare, and now he's a year 3 in elementary school. And one more of those, and he'll be well into junior high. So I've been putting a lot of thought into how to kind of just drill down with what I can do, and I think once I get a solid grasp of software development, I'm just going to kind of focus on being an English teacher guy, and then doing some projects here and there, and I think that should be enough. The projects will kind of spill over into other things, but it should all be relatively manageable, I think. I spent quite a few years just running all over town on my bicycle, doing everything by bicycle, and always having places to be, really long, busy days, and sometimes making money, sometimes not. And now I think it's really time to use I would say the next 10, 15 years to just really be about family and providing my presence as a dad, and not being quite so distracted by work, hopefully. Another development that's come about is the instructor for the development course I'm in has been really impressed with the kind of suggestions and restructuring I've been able to share with him based on my experience in the course, because he was coming at it just really strong, as a professional developer with a full understanding of what's required in the field. He designed this 4-month power course, but kind of overlooked the fact that that's way too much for probably 9 out of 10 people. More, probably like 95 and 96% of people. So we kind of got together, and I just kind of used my own experience as a teacher, both professionally and also part of my degree is in teaching. I said, look, this is really might work better if you do it this way, blah, blah, blah. Kind of allow a smoother, more natural, incremental transition. And so he's been so happy with that because it's really helped him funnel people in and keep them focused and moving forward without too much frustration. And so he hasn't made a specific proposal yet, but he'd like to keep me on his staff with a salary, which would be kind of cool. It'd be remote work, of course, and he knows I want to keep my school and do freelancing type stuff. So he's promised to make it kind of manageable. So yeah, it's looking like diversification is happening, and I'll be able to keep the school going in some way without closing it or relying 100% on student numbers, which I have friends here in town, or acquaintances at least, that I've noticed every year the student numbers are getting smaller and fewer kids are signing up, and there's just fewer people around with the Japanese population issues. So English teaching is not a very smart career choice in terms of like long-term 20, 30, 40 years from now type of thinking, in my opinion. On the top of that, there's all kinds of issues with scaling and dealing with. There's a lot of things that just kind of make it hard to go very deep in with, which is another subject unto itself. So I think getting involved in 3 to 4 streams of income would be helpful. The only issue is they all require my direct time and energy, so they're not really assets in the full sense of the word, but they are alternative means of income. So that's been helpful, and that's something to look forward to, I guess. Could potentially in the future maybe hire somebody here without relying 100%, or at least, I don't know, say 50 to 60% on their performance, which is a scary thing to do. Starting an English school, it takes a while. It takes realistically 3 to 4 years. Some people say 5 before you're really making a decent living. And yeah, I mean, looking back at my monthly tuition statements from like late 2014, 2015, I'm just amazed. Like, how did I live off of that? It was really kind of a tough time, and it's not something I want to go through again. Speaking honestly, not without having something else to supplement it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Nothing's really in motion yet. It's all contingent on me continuing to study and keeping the school going, but something to look forward to. Having options in the future and getting involved in something that will allow me to be useful, in a more global sense instead of just being stuck here in Japan. But on the other hand, also in keeping the school, I'll be able to remain a part of the community and stay involved with people in a day-to-day life type of way, which is really, really important. One thing that kind of I was not really, I don't know what the word, pondering was, if I were to take like a fully remote position and just work from home, I mean, my social life is pretty barren as it is now. If I were to do that, it would be almost non-existent. I mean, I'd see my wife and kids and neighbors occasionally, but it'd be a pretty lonely life. So at least in doing this, I get to interact with people in the community and stay connected, which is healthy. You need that. So anyways, yeah, there it is. The student numbers are picking up. I think in my last video I mentioned 4 students joining potentially. 3 of those 4 have joined. One of them has turned out to be really, really shy. She's a 6-year-old girl, Ichinensei, year 1, And so she's going to come again this Saturday and the next Saturday for trial lessons again. I do, with some students, I do up to like 3 trial lessons, just to give them a chance to kind of get used to things. It also, it's good with, the parents also appreciate that because they want their kids to be having fun and be into whatever they're doing, and it really hedges attrition rates. If you go over selling things, oh yeah, she's great, she's having so much fun there. Let me tell you, they're people, they're going to start quitting more often when you're saying one thing, what your students experiencing another. So it's better to essentially teach them for free for a month, and then have the recurring income for the next anywhere from 1 to 6, 7, 8 years, right? Than it is to just try to get them in the lesson ASAP and get the income coming in, because I've seen it, it doesn't work very well. So but I'm not really sure if she's going to sign up. She's super, super shy. Even when she came in for a level check with her parents, just the 3 of them, and refused to speak, didn't make a sound. So, one of those things. So hopefully this Saturday, things will be different. We'll just have to see. So, okay. There it is. I hope everyone's doing good. If you guys have any other questions, outside of the school, life in Japan, as a married guy, or just, interacting with people, there's a lot I've kind of been pondering in recent months, as I'm now into my 2nd decade over here, which is just phenomenal. Time's a crazy thing, but I feel like I've, for the most part, made pretty smart decisions. I often feel like I could have made them earlier, but I think that's pretty common. I think most people feel that way when they realize, like, oh wow, this works. It's actually like way better. You tend to think like, I should have done this a long time ago, but there's probably 10 or 11 other things like that I haven't done yet. And I might get around to a few more of them in this life and be like, why didn't I do this when I was like 22? I don't know. So there it is. You gotta be happy with where you are and constantly seeking to improve and building and networking and looking for opportunities. It's extremely important, I think. Okay, so already at 13 minutes, so I will stop it there. Until next time.